Hey, if you're stuck, it's time to improv. I'm Mary Scott, and I'm here with Nancy Becher of Business Success Unlimited. We're talking about advice for startup businesses. So, Nancy, you have an unusual take on who should be a startup business and what kinds of things shouldn't stop them from doing what they need to do.
Yeah, thank you first for having me, Mary. I appreciate it so much. And I've been in business for a long time. It's been over 35 years, and I've worked with companies, startups, experienced businesses in all different ways of what do I need to do to move my business forward. But about 7 years ago, I was in a really bad hit and run car accident. And as a consequence, I've pretty much lost the use of my legs and my right arm. And yeah, it was just really hard for me for about a year. And then I realized just because people have challenges doesn't mean they need to give up.
What are like the top three things that people need to know if they're thinking about starting a business and they've got some challenges?
Any person starting a business needs to have a plan. So often I hear things like a plan. I don't even know what I want for dinner tonight. Why should I have a plan? And if you don't have a plan, you're going to wind up going in circles. And I've actually demonstrated that a few times in my wheelchair where I'm just sort of swinging around and around in circles because I don't know where I'm going. So you need to have an idea of what you want, where you want it, who you want to work with. Otherwise, you're just changing from one job to another. You have a job for someone else, and then you have the ownership of your own job. You don't become a boss. And so that's important for anyone. But when you are dealing with someone with chronic illnesses, you also have to put into that plan, how am I going to do it? I hurt. I can't get out of bed at 4:30 in the morning anymore like I used to. There are days when I am in bed all day. How do I run a business? Who wants me? Who, if someone were to find out I had some sort of an illness, are they going to want to work with me? So that plan becomes even more specific because you've really got to figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. But you also have to understand and give yourself the courage and the knowledge that says it can be done.
Right.
I
So
just need to
it
know.
sounds like people need both personal resources as well as external resources. And if you can share some of the things that you found that helped you along that maybe other people can look for.
Sure. One of the things that's the biggest problem for me is I have no longer any short-term memory. I forget things constantly. So I can't say the name because she'll go off on me, but it's Alexa. I have in all of my rooms and on my phones and everywhere around, and I program reminders. So I will hear her say, this is a reminder, Nancy, it's time for, and I have everything connected to my calendar. It's on my computer, it's on my phone, it's everywhere I go. I have things that pop up and tell me, don't forget this is a meeting today. So that's really one of the most important things. One of the other things that I use constantly is Evernote. And my Evernote is my brain. And I have two monitors so that I can be doing this with you. But over here on the other side, I have other things that are really important. And the number one thing that I have over there is my Evernote. And it's got the links to everything that I do that are so important. It's got who's my ideal customer. It's got the words that I use when I'm talking in groups so that I don't have to try to remember them. I don't have to try to find them. They're all right there.
When you were starting your business after your accident, did you have external resources? Were there organizations that you found helpful or anything like that?
We had moved from Washington, D.C. back to small town Michigan to take care of my parents. And the car accident was actually while we were helping them. And so we lived in the basement of their house, and there was no kitchen, there was no anything. It was just like a makeshift bedroom that we had turned the basement into. And I literally sat on my bed for a year and a half and did nothing but cry.
Oh my.
And then, well, of course, there were 16 surgeries along with all of that. So I wasn't just sitting there, I was busy with surgeries, but I didn't do any work. And then one morning, I woke up and I said, I've been running my own business since I was 12 years old. This is ridiculous. I need to not let this, run me. And back then, this has been 7 years ago, and I mean, Zoom was just getting started. You basically only had Skype. You really didn't have a lot of the tools and everything that have jumped up overnight. And I didn't have anybody to help me. I had to figure it all out on my own. And that's really what my business is for, is so that other people who find themselves in similar positions don't have to do it on their own. They can join with other people who also have challenges and issues, and we can do it together. We can figure it out together, and it makes life so much better.
Okay, that's good. No, I was just wondering if in your neighborhood they have things like the small business development centers or the SBA funded organizations that are there to help small businesses navigate loans or grants or those kinds of things to get off the ground.
Well, I actually am a SCORE.
Okay.
I am a trainer for SCORE, and it was all that. But with chronic illnesses, with the types of things that I have, I can't get there. It either has to all be done online.
So what do you have, group coaching, or what kind of sessions do you do?
I'm not a coach. I'm a consultant.
Okay.
And I'll go in and I'll find what's the problem, and I'll say, well, I think you need this. And we work together. I figure out what it is that they're missing, what they need to support their business. And then we find the tool that works for them. We create the process and the program. And I do have group programs. I have a mastermind. I have networking events twice a month. And I also have the Flying Pig Academy, which is a year-long program that actually takes you through different stages of your business development.
Very cool. So the message is that just because you've got some kind of illness doesn't mean you can't have a business. And it doesn't mean you can't have a very successful business.
That's right. Absolutely. For me, it's actually been a godsend for me and my business. When I was back in Virginia and DC, I was very, very, very successful, and then everything crashed, of course. And now I'm in a much different way. I'm just as successful again. And I'm doing it in a totally different way.
So where do you find your clients now? Do you use LinkedIn or meetup groups?
I use LinkedIn for the most part. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I have a podcast. I've been doing a podcast for 3 years, and it has between 500 and 750 downloads a week. So that's pretty good. The advice is just don't get overwhelmed. Just realize that you can do it if you put in the effort, but you've got to really have that plan. You've got to know what it is that you want to do, and you've got to work the plan.
Thank you very much, Nancy Becher from Business Success Unlimited. This has been Mary Scott from Business Riff. When you're stuck, it's time to improv. So we'll see you hopefully next Tuesday.